On the evening of November 9th, a special meeting was called of the Northumberland County, Virginia School Board. 4 of the 5 board members were present. Chairman Dean Sumner was not present because of business issues in Fredericksburg. The meeting was therefore chaired by Vice Chair Betty Christopher. 3 of the members, Betty Christopher, Dana O'Beer, and Gail Sterrett, worked quickly to attempt to move into a closed session. According to an eyewitness, when the 4th board member present, Gerald Howard, inquired as to the subject of the meeting, the other 3 refused to tell him. Howard pointed out that there was a regularly scheduled board meeting the following Monday, and this special meeting should not have been called when they knew Chairman Sumner would not be present. Howard then read a letter from Sumner objecting to the special meeting when they knew he could not be present due to work. Howard asked a second time what the meeting was about, and again they refused to tell him in open session. While Howard still had the floor, the other 3 voted to move into a closed session and told the audience to clear the room. People stayed in place. Christopher, O'Beer, and Sterrett then walked out, but returned in a few minutes, voting to place the meeting in open session. A motion was made to remove Superintendent Dr. Rebecca Gates effective immediately. It was seconded and passed. That was followed by another immediate motion to adjourn. Dr. Gates was asked to surrender her keys and school phone. Her response was that they would be hearing from her lawyer. The following day, Assistant Superintendent for Instruction, Dr. Holly Wargo, sent letters to the faculty and staff and students and their families announcing that she was appointed the acting superintendent of Northumberland County Public Schools. On November 14th, a regularly scheduled meeting was held, complete with the full complement of school board members. What follows are relevant portions of that meeting.
I make a motion to certify whereas the Northumberland County School Board convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote in accordance with the provision of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas Section 2.2.3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification that to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting, which this certification applies, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered. Do I certify?
I'll certify.
Okay, do I have a motion to come?
I move we come back into the open session.
Is there a second? All those in favor? Aye.
We had down here for Sands Anderson, legal fees for October, $10,029.50. However, I think we're already $7,000 over the amount we have allotted for legal fees. I think since it's been approved by categories, I don't see how we can just sit here and approve the legal fees that we do not currently have the funds to do it. I know what you want to say, Glenn, but that's okay.
I'm waiting for a question, that's all.
No, I don't have any questions. I just think that this would put us $17,000 over our legal fees and a budget that goes all the way to June. So I think it's something that we need to take a look at as opposed to just paying. I think that the public should be concerned about the fact that we are already $17,000 over, and that includes this $10,000. So it's not $17,000 plus the $10,000, it's $17,000, including the $10,000. And I think that this is a problem going forward. We probably already have more legal bills that are going to be coming in. And I don't just see how we can just continue to pay legal bills. And by doing it the way we are doing it, the public has no chance to give their opinion on it. I met with Board of Supervisors, I was at the Board of Supervisors meeting the other night, and I asked them, were they not concerned about how the school board is spending taxpayers' money, especially when it comes to legal fees? So I think it's something that we might have to consider. I think it's something we might have to go to the Board of Supervisors and ask them for the money, since it's approved by categories, and we've already spent the money that they have approved for.
Well, I have a question. Lynn, could you, because it is category, the lawyer fees are one of the items in there, and how much leeway do we have in that category?
We have approximately 30,000 that was set up for health benefits for the board. No members of the board are taking that benefit. So that is the one area that I can see that there is some money.
That's 30,000?
30.
And we've already, is that above and beyond the 17 we've already spent over our budget?
No, that's what we have as a cushion right now. Subtract off the 17.
So we are not even halfway there. What is the line item on that, on lawyers' fees?
22,000.
So we've spent 39.
No, we've spent, yes, I'm sorry, yes.
Okay,
With this approval of the check, yes.
okay. So we have a buffer of 13?
Do we have any pending legal bills that you know of?
Whatever's occurred since this bill is for October.
The end of October?
This bill takes us through October 31st.
I'm just saying that, in my opinion, we have been, and I've said it before at the board, and I've said it at other places, I think we played kind of loosey-goosey with taxpayers' money. And I think that in this category right here is the one that we're not even to the end of this year. We have to go all the way to June. I know we have pending special ed cases that have to go before to the lawyer. So we're just going to be constantly going back and going back and going back. And I think it's an issue that we need to deal with. I just think voting for it allows us to keep voting and to keep spending. I'm not in no way blaming you. You're just a messenger. But I just think it's something that we as a board have to take a look at. And there are other pending legal issues, as we all know. That's going to eat through that 13,000. It's going to eat through that in a second. So we either go now, or we go in a week or two to the Board of Supervisors and say, we need more money, and we need this category increased. And like I said, I met with them at their last board, and I asked them point blank, aren't you concerned about how we're spending the money? Of course. You know how they do. They don't say anything. They're the best card players in the world. They don't say a word, and so I don't know how they do. But every taxpayer should be concerned. So,
Any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
nay.
Motion carries.
Good evening, everyone. So I just want to, on behalf of the school board, let our public and our families and our community know that our faculty and staff, we will remain focused on students, on our teachers, and making sure that our day-to-day instructional operations are in order. So again, I just want to let you know that we will be focused on kids, and that is our #1 in Northumberland County. Tonight for the superintendent's report, the first item is a VSBA annual convention, just general information.
I appreciate what you said about us focusing on the students. But I would like to point out to all of you here, we've always been focused on our students. I would like to say that Dr. Gates did an excellent job while she was superintendent of the school. And I don't want, it to be misconstrued by, and I do support Dr. Morgan and what she said, but I don't want it to be misconstrued at all that she wasn't. I don't want it to be misconstrued at all. She was an excellent superintendent. And the thing that made her excellent superintendent was the fact that she cared about all of our kids, not just some of them, if you know what I mean. If you just look back at some of her accomplishments, well, I know Dr. Walker was finished. But I just wanted to emphasize that I don't want it to be said that we weren't focusing on students because we've always been. And I'll hold my rest for later.
And I want to apologize for not introducing Dr. Morvo as our new acting superintendent. And I think everybody here has full confidence in their ability to do this job. Literally being thrown into the fire. So thank you for stepping up.
Thank you.
We approved employee number 264 to receive $1,000 a month for extra duties. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. And I motion to approve employee number 260 to receive pay and benefits as per contract for the next 12 months.
Second.
Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
I feel like I have to speak up. We all know what happened last Wednesday. I have not worked many jobs, been in many situations. I've never seen anything like that in my life. I think it was blindsided. I think it was calculated. I think it was deceitful, cruel. Those were the kindest words I can think of it. I think that when you look at what happened to Dr. Casey, you have to go back and look. It was time for her evaluation. The last time she was evaluated was in December of last year. She got an outstanding evaluation. The year before that, outstanding evaluation. The year before that, outstanding evaluation. So you have to ask yourself, what happened between December and October of this year? The only thing I can think of is 2 new board members. That's the only thing. There were no complaints. There were no written. Which is obvious to everybody else too. And I just think that for her to be treated the way that she did, all you had to do was wait till the evaluation was done. That's all you had to do. Or wait until this meeting. But no, you call a special meeting. You knew the chairman couldn't be there until, he couldn't be there at 4:30, he told you. But you still deliberately called a meeting for 4:30. You walk in and I ask, what's the special meeting about? You don't tell me what people in the community knew what it was about. And here's the thing that taxpayers, what's going to back the taxpayers' money? We're going to have to pay 2 superintendents for a while. Or we're going to go with the other superintendent. And here's the thing that you really have to understand, is that Dr. Walco is doing a yeoman's job. And I have no doubt that she's going to do the best that she can. But she was also assistant superintendent for instructions. She can't do both. So what's going to happen to instructions? And then the other thing is this, it's budget time. $16.8 million of taxpayers' money. You've already seen that we're spending it like we want to, like we are making it. And I just cannot stand by and say, and not say anything. Can't stand by. And I believe that part of that was kids that look like me. I believe that. I'm not going to hold back. Right, you can say it wasn't true. It all started up that way and ended up here. Now, I'll admit that the new board members, ran on the ticket to get rid of Dr. Gates. Fine, you run on whatever ticket you want to run on, whatever cause you want, but you should have justification. And this is the other part that's really so devastating. No reason was given. No reason was given to fire a woman that in December had an exceptional rating. Nothing happened. No reason was given. It should have been something. I mean, if something happened, then fine. But nothing happened. It was just, and then a person asked this question. Why is she being treated this way? I don't see him here. And he asked that question. And he said, because we were earlier, why was she treated that way? And the answer was mostly personal. So the taxpayer is going to have to pay for 2 superintendents. The school system is going to go with a director of instruction. All of this, we're already going to have, not to mention the legal fees that's coming in the road, because it was mostly personal. Now, if you want to stand there, that's fine. I mean, I've done all I can do. But I've let you know at every turn, and if you don't like what I say, I can understand it. I'm just going to tell you the truth as I know it.
Okay, I have a couple. One, I've heard through social media and other reports that there's people going around saying that I missed 3 meetings in a row. I did miss 1 meeting, a scheduled meeting. I missed 2 special meetings. One was on FERPA, a meeting discussing FERPA. We had that meeting scheduled before this meeting, and I was all ready to go, and 2 members canceled that, and then it interfered with my work on this one, and I wasn't able to do it. My business has increased. I'm in Stafford a lot nowadays. And this last special meeting, it was asked for. I responded, why can't it wait till this meeting? And I still don't know why it couldn't have waited until this meeting. There was no urgency to do that. And I said, and I can't attend that meeting. I mean, it works for your work schedule, but at 4:30 it did not work for my work schedule. It went ahead and went through, and I had no recourse on that. So that was that meeting. So, but I would also like to talk about the fact that there were some personnel that were not happy with Dr. Gates. I didn't see a lot, but there were some. But I think a lot of that came about because of what our board did when Dr. Gates was first hired. And I really didn't know this until I became chairman, but our former chair and vice chair, Betty Christopher, went to Dr. Gates with a page of requests. And I think a lot of the ill will that came about came from this page of requests. And Dr. Gates took the heat on all of those things and never once said why these were being done. And I'm not going to say I was against it, all of them, because I wasn't. But the fact that she took the heat instead of us means a lot, I think. And I'm going to give an example of a few. One is personnel can attend only 1 conference per year unless a grant or someone else pays for it. Well, that's going to upset some personnel. We're going to pay for only 2 3-hour courses per 5-year cycle for bachelor's personnel or 10-year cycle for master's personnel, as this is all that is needed to keep licenses. No paraprofessional is to receive reimbursement for courses taken toward a degree. Decreased length of contract for most administrators, supervisors, ROTC, etc. to correspond with shorter school year. Decrease the number of part-time retired personnel. That one Dr. Gates took a big hit on, and it wasn't her idea, it was ours. Decrease the number of aides in the elementary school. Another thing Dr. Gates took a big hit on, and it was us. Reading recovery teachers are not to receive an additional 1,000 supplement yearly, as there are several certified now for these positions, plus this requirement is only for 3 hours of credit. This is especially unfair because since no money is given for those working on a master's until the entire master's is completed, aren't most elementary teachers certified in reading recovery now when they graduate? Decrease supplemental paid personnel. Why does the elementary guidance counselor still need 2 additional supplement as she now has a full-time secretary as opposed to having no secretary and requesting it? Decrease the amount of the grass cutting contract to reflect the decrease of the old high school. Supervisors should pay for it now. And do not replace the math supervisor. Do we need a full-time psychologist? Can this be reduced to part-time? Now, as I said, I'm not against all of those, but Dr. Gates took the heat for those when it really could have been directed at us. And I think the fact that she took all that heat and never once tried to deflect it shows a lot about her character. And now I'd like to go, since there's no other comments, to public comments, and starting with Jim Long.
First, I'd like to say good evening, everyone. Dr. Walker, congratulations. You're a good person. And Dr. Gates was a good person, very good person, who worked with the community, who worked with all kids, and did not backstab people. About 20%, and I like to put a picture here, about 20% of the people read the paper. The other 80% social media. And in a lot of instances, people add their own version instead of being at the meeting. We were blindsided by 3 members of this board to get rid of Dr. Gates without a reason. And we're very upset. I'm very upset as the NAACP president in Northumberland County. I'm very upset. Always had a positive attitude and the backbone to stand up for what was right. And this board has not stood up for what's right. You had individual agendas. And at least 1 or 2 of them do not have backbone. You follow the leadership of the elders. If you're going to be a member of the board, you got to have backbone, be positive, and realize the first thing is for the students, not individual programs. And that's been the problem. Stacy Lee and another gentleman gave us a presentation on what we should do. And that's the first thing, drop personal agendas and work for the students. And you have not done that. You work for personal agendas. And this one has hurt Northumberland public school system. You have parents that do not want to enroll their kids in school. They want to take them out. And you have hurt this system. And if you have any background, if you're a positive person and have faith and believe in doing right, you'll get yourself on the right path. Because you'll waste our tax money, because there's more tax money wasted down the road. And I hope that you turn around and begin to realize the damage you've done to the school system. Thank you and have a great day.
Lori Morissette.
Mrs. Sophia, 1. Ms. Christopher, 2. Ms. Sterrett, 3. 3 votes on an elected representative board of 5. That is a winning nomination any day. The coalition it represents could achieve its agenda without force, disrespect, or arrogance. But when that coalition silences the voices of other board members, the board ceases to be representative of all citizens, and certainly of all the students. The school board becomes a triad, not a school board, not an elected representative body. When 3 members of the board speak over Mr. Howard's discussion of the motion, 1, 2, 3, you disrespect and disregard the voices of the 1,692 registered voters and taxpayers that he represents. When 3 members of the board, 1, 2, 3, call a closed session and leave the room while Mr. Howard is reading a letter containing Mr. Sumner's discussion on the motion, the 3 silence the 1,885 registered voters and taxpayers that Mr. Sumner represents. Had Mr. Sumner been allowed to speak, he may have said what he said here tonight. Minds might have been changed. I sometimes think that you act on the premise that the end justifies the means. But in a representative democracy, the means are as important, if not more important, than the end. Every citizen knows his opinion will not prevail every time. It is the privilege, the right to express that opinion, to be heard by our governmental body, that is the very basis of our government and creates trust in a governmental body. The power and authority of a governing body is based on the consent of the governed. Your actions are shredding the social contract of discourse, respect, and trust that must exist between the citizens and their elected representatives. Your actions have consequences. You are dividing a community. You are disregarding the contract and the due process rights of employees. You are putting yourselves above the 1,279 students you serve. We heard tonight about the $39,000 in legal fees from unnecessary lawsuits. Lawsuits that could have been avoided by actions based in mutual respect, actions based in due process. As a taxpayer and as a citizen, I want to put children first. I would like to see that $39,000 and the rest of the legal fees and damages that are going to be based on the recent actions. I would like to see those spent on raises for teachers.
Our time is up. Thank you. There's 4 minute time. Thank you. Reverend Linwood Blizzard.
With all those who represent and empower pastors, congregations, organizations, community leaders, and citizens, please stand at this time with me as I speak on your behalf. Stand today on behalf of this group of constituents here in Northumberland County, the Empower Group. Many of our nation's Pledge of Allegiance uses the words liberty and justice for all. Though all may have liberty, all have not experienced justice by your hand. If justice was not given to Dr. Gates, how can I ensure will be given to the students that we all love and care for? It has been clear that this board and this 3-2 majority was not going to do Dr. Gates' contract. And I think that was an unspoken statement that we all realized and saw. However, we come to realize that last Wednesday was not the due time for that time to happen. You do not allow Mr. Howard to read the letter from Mr. Sumner to the board. You do not make Mr. Sumner or Mr. Howard aware of the reason for the meeting, let alone the reason for the firing. Now, allow Dr. Gates to have a hearing per Section 10 Part A of her contract per the Freedom of Information Act. The board failed to execute due process, which is a clear violation of the First Amendment of the Constitution of the First Amendment of the Constitution of the United States of America. The Code of Virginia, Section 22.1-65 mandates sufficient cause for the removal of a district superintendent by the school board. But when I look at the fact that there were 74% of students graduating in 2011 and 95% in 2015, it does not sound sufficient cause was at all warranted at this time. In addition, the failure of the board to enact Part A, Section 10 of Dr. Gates' contract to give her due process will cause us to invoke Part B of Section 10, which is to pay her out for the next year without having to work, which is the cost of 2 superintendents. It is the recommendation of this county, Northumberland, to invoke Code of Virginia 22.4-233 for the misuse of the office of the school board by 3 board members, as well as for the material adverse effect which is found in the removal by the circuit court. You see, I just stand before you today because I've watched 2 people fall by the wayside for trying to narrow the achievement gap here in Northumberland County. What is your fear in allowing people to actually have equity in this county? Do all students matter? My opinion, no, they do not. I don't stand here for vain words or just for presence, as you already know in our conversations we have with everybody on the school board. We stand here to empower the ones who have been sidelined, marginalized, and are soon to be forgotten. We are here unified for more than just tonight. We are here to stand together to advance the work of narrowing and closing the achievement gap, the vision of Michael Ransom, the vision of Dr. Rebecca Gates. And our model, and to be a model institution and model school system for not only the Commonwealth, but also for this nation. So at some point, we can truly understand what it means to have liberty and justice for all.
Hello, my name is Amaya Ball. I am a sophomore in Northumberland High School. I am upset about the disruption that the school board is causing in the school system. I am upset about losing a principal and now losing a superintendent. I am upset about fighting and bullying among school board members. I want to get about achieving my dreams. You're not helping. I want to read and remind you of the code of conduct each of you signed on January 11, 2016. As a member of my local school board, I will strive to be an advocate for students and improve public education, and to that end. Number 1, I will have integrity in all matters and support the full development of all children and the welfare of the community and Commonwealth and nation. Number 2, I will attend scheduled board meetings. Number 3, I will come to the board meetings informed concerning the issues under consideration. Number 4, I will make policies decision based on the available facts and appropriate public input. Number 5, I will delegate authority of the administration of the schools to the superintendent and establish a process for accountability of administrators. Number 6, I will encourage individual board member expression of opinion and establish an open two-way communication process with all segments of the community. Number 7, I will communicate in accordance with board policies, public reactions, and opinion regarding board policies and school programs to the full board and superintendent. Number 8, I will bring about desired changes through legal and ethical procedures, upholding and enforcing all laws, state regulations, and court orders pertaining to schools. Number 9, I will refrain from using the board position for personal and partisan gain and the appearance of impropriety. Number 10, I will respect confidentially of a privileged information, make no individual decisions or comments that might compromise the board or administration. Number 11, I will be informed about current educational issues through individual study and participation in appropriate programs, such as those sponsored by my state and national school board associations. Number 12, I will always remember that the foremost concern of the school board is to improve and enhance the teaching and learning experience for all students in the public schools of Virginia. Therefore, I will always strive and demonstrate appropriate behavior, conduct as the public school board member. Each member of this school board voting to adopt this code sign.
Thank you.
I would like to publicly apologize to you and to the other students, to the teachers, to the citizens for the actions of this board. I think that we had a really good board once upon a time. They actually be a professional. I'm not doing it for applause. We did. We debated, we discussed, we argued, but when we came to a decision, it was the decision of the board. We always took the students' interests, best interests at hand. That was the only thing we were concerned about. And I'll admit that we are far, far away from that. And so I apologize to you, but you keep on doing your best. Don't let us. Don't you let us distract. Don't you let us distract you or your friends or other students. You keep pushing. And when you grow up, that's what I want you to do. Promise that you'll be better than we are.
Reverend Dr. Williams.
Good evening, board members. Amaya is one of the young people who served and worshiped at Mount Olive Baptist Church. And first of all, I would like to commend her for her bravery and willingness to serve and let us know how she is. Amaya's words give evidence that the actions and the attitudes of some of our board members have had a disappointing and visible impact on our students. Our students and community have an expectation that each of you as board members, as mature adults who have on paper committed themselves to have open, two-way communications, not only with each other, but with the students, school officials, employees, and the communities that elected you. And also that you will be people of your word. You also have committed yourselves to put the interests of our students ahead of any personal agendas, as well as to improve and enhance learning opportunities for all of our students. There's been too many instances where contentious, infighting, and questionable integrity has been displayed within this board. It's time that we place our efforts and energies to help all of our children prepare themselves to successfully navigate the challenges of life that await them. The most recent actions taken by specific members of this board does not seem to be consistent with putting the educational needs of our students as their priority. It's time for each of you to do what you were elected to do. And I guarantee you this, if things don't change, there will be a day of reckoning.
Dr. Witt?
I don't have the fancy credentials of all these speakers up here, but I'm a taxpayer of this county. And I demand 1, 2, and 3. Never been anything so corrupt in this county as the 3 of y'all.
Sit down.
And I think every one of you ought to be dead blame ashamed. But I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to let God judge you. So corrupt, firing an innocent person on this school board that has been honored every year, and we had great school boards. Since y'all got on here, y'all, it's gone to the devil. I'll put it at that. I have no problem with the 3 of you, but these 3 right here have no business on a school board in any county, in any state. In my life.
4 minutes.
And I'm ready to pull my kids out of school because I don't need trash like that.
Richard Saxer?
Richard Saxer, Reedville, and a former board member. In 2013, Mr. Howard and myself, with the approval of the entire Board of Education, attended a workshop on the new guidelines set forth by the state of Virginia regarding superintendent evaluation. It was a grueling, interesting, and informative workshop. In the ensuing weeks, with input from other board members, we unanimously adopted a form to be used for Dr. Gates' evaluation. That evaluation met all of the state requirements, and Mrs. Christopher was a member of that board. There is a total of 8 performance standards, including one we added, which was implementation of the budget. There were 39 performance indicators. Each standard had a portion of the 100% total. One standard, division-wide student academic progress, was mandated to count for 40% of the total score. Of that 40%, Dr. Gates' rating was 38.96. On the last page of her contract, Superintendent Evaluation for Northumberland County School Superintendent Dr. Gates. This evaluation carries a total worth of 95.84. In the words of the evaluation, the score was an exceptional performance. The Board of the Northumberland County School Boards voted at an open meeting on December 14, 2015 to approve this latest evaluation unanimously, 5-0. Mrs. Christopher being one of 5. The present board has just received this evaluation form. They have not given Dr. Gates a formal evaluation. But with the 3 past formal evaluations, all of which resulted in exceptional rating, 3 board members voted to remove Dr. Gates. Evaluations be damned. This large group present at this meeting gives you 3 a rating of destructive performance. On the other, in our opinion, which should result in your immediate resignation.
That's what you wrote down. It's actually Pastor Perez.
Good evening. There are actually 3 things I want to bring to the board's attention. One is that I ran to one of our football players and I asked him if they had training for the concussion. He said, no, there's a website to go look at. And that was it. I think we can do better than that. I think it's required that every school district now has a training session on concussions, and every sport is supposed to have that prior to them being on the field, on the court, and before they travel. our football team did not receive that due process. That is not right. And it holds us into a dangerous state where one of our students gets injured and they tell other people that they have not had their training. 2, when I go home, I usually sit down with my kids. I ask the question, what did you learn from school today? Believe me, that can range from a lot of things when you have 5 kids, but the one thing that's been constant the last 9 weeks has been one from my son, and he says, the pastor is so disruptive that he has learned absolutely nothing. That bothers me because when he came home, he received a B in the class that he's been complaining about. I have called the school. I've emailed our superintendent. We need to support our teachers. The teacher is a young teacher. It's his first time teaching. I was told that he was going to have someone in that classroom to help him, and no one has been there. We are failing our teachers, but also, we need to ask parents to start attending school with their children. And being a part of this school process is making sure that your child is respecting and honoring its code of conduct and stop allowing other kids to influence them on their learning or take away from the learning process. Because I believe that our teachers wake up every day, passionate about teaching my child or everyone's child. They don't come having to deal with behavior problems that they have been dealing with. And I think we have to look at that multifunction and multi-time as we look at other things that we have to do a better service for our young teachers who are just entering this field so they get longevity and they don't get burned out. And we also have to do that to the students who need to learn. You cannot put ADHD students with behavior problem kids and expect them to learn. You cannot expect their IEP to be followed when they cannot have an environment of learning, when there's always an environment of distraction and things going on. The last thing, our concern has been about the superintendent. I would hope that as we move forward, that we would create a board together that as we look at a new superintendent, that we create a process in which the public can have some weigh in on who we bring in and how we orchestrate making that transition. I think for the sake of the county, that Dr. Wargo be stationed there for the rest of the year so that we have some stability with our children, with our instruction, and with our school system. And until y'all can learn how to talk to one another. That's imperative. We cannot seek peace if everyone is not at the table speaking and listening more than they speak. It's imperative that you set the example, else we will continue to falter every time we try to pick up the ball and run. Thank you.
Pardon my clothes, my predecessor. Mr. Chairman and members of the Northumberland County School Board, many Northumberland County residents, whether or not they have children attending the county's public schools, are experiencing a growing concern about what's been happening recently with this school board. I have the pleasure of serving as chairman of the Northumberland County Economic Development Commission, as well as chairman of the Northumberland County Planning Commission. In these two interested areas is the focus of my own growing concern as one who has a definite direct responsibility to our tax-paying county neighbors. The Economic Development Commission's mission is to expand our county's economy and in the process to broaden its tax base, especially to relieve the owners of real property as the dominant source of tax revenues, funding the responsibilities and operations of our county government. Y'all are in health, not of debt. In fact, you're making the Economic Development Commission's job and that of our public schools much harder. The Economic Development Commission has undertaken a project to revitalize Callio as a business hub in our county, to expand its commerce and perhaps to bring in new businesses while maintaining our county's precious cultural and historic heritage and protecting us in our treasured environment. And therein lies a problem. When owners of a business consider relocating in a community, one of the major factors attracting their attention is the quality and stability of the community's public schools. They want to be assured that their children and those of their employees have a clear opportunity of receiving a good, sound education, one that prepares them well for moving on to college and attaining fulfilling, productive careers. They're reluctant to relocate to a community where officials controlling the public schools are embroiled in controversy that attracts embarrassing news coverage far beyond its borders, where these officials hide their intentions behind an impenetrable dark cloud of secrecy, where violations of the law and good public policy seem rampant, and where angry allegations of venal racism abound. Frankly, it's become more and more difficult to know what's really going on with the school board. What is it about public's knowledge and awareness that you fear? Are you really considering the education of our county's youngsters, or are you simply carrying out a personal, nefarious vendetta? Explain yourselves, please. End this secrecy, please. Level with us, please. It speaks volumes, loudly and clearly.
That's the last of our public comments. Do I have a motion to adjourn? All those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you.